Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you here. So I can see some people are still joining. We have not a lot of you, but still, hello. Yeah, today's Friday. It was a hard day for me, and a hard week, I would say. What about you? Like, was it easy, or maybe you struggled with something? You can share in the comments. I can see. So the exams are coming soon. Are you scared about that? So text me in the comments how you feel. It would be really nice to know. Yeah, thank you for asking. So like I said, I'm all right, even though the day was pretty intense, I'd say. But our topic is not less intense, so we're going to work a lot today because we are discussing this. All right. Oh, year 10, really? Okay, then I suppose that it would be really nice practice for you and you still have lots of chances to catch up. Nice. Okay, so the topic, reported speech. I know that for some of you it might be scary, but I'm sure we will deal with that today. Yeah, hello, everybody who's joining. And in the end, if we have time, we will try some reading tips and practice, but if not, that would be your individual homework in the form of presentation. Hello. All right, let's get started. So first of all, I've collected the movies that all of you should know. So, do you know this one? Yeah? And his famous phrase, "I'll be back." So now let's try reporting that. He said, what did he say? Okay, so jump in and join our working mood. Everybody who is coming, hello. Yeah, so he said he would be back. Good. Okay, let's go to the harder mode. Run, Forrest, run. I think you know Forrest Gump, this movie, yeah? So Jenny told Forrest, it might be a bit challenging, but still, we'll try. Oh, not at all. Okay. So she told Forrest to run. Exactly. Well done. Okay, and Sandra Bullock in this movie, which is called Proposal, asks, "Will you marry me?" So Margaret asked Andrew, what did she ask, Andrew? To marry him. Well, that's a nice option because knowing the plot of the movie, we know that it sounded almost like some order there. But still, if she asks, how do we typically report questions? If he would marry her. Yeah, that's another option I wanted to hear, so thank you for that. But to marry her, also possible, especially, like I said, in this context. So, from your comments, I can see that all is clear. Then I assume we can move very fast and just revise and not learn the basic rules of reporting. So, as you can see here, I have a sentence in direct and then in reported speech. So, once in some interview, Kylie Jenner said, "I'm not following any trends now. I just like to be original." And when we report it, we do three things. So step 1, we add that as a linker in between the first part and the reported part. But it is pretty optional, and we can just say Kylie Jenner said she was not following, and that would be all right. So adding that is optional, though we often can meet it there. Step number 2, we need to backshift the verb. What does it mean to backshift? It's like to move it 1 tense back. So simply saying if it's present, we move it to past. About other changes we will speak later, but generally, yeah, we do this change. For example, I am not following. We say she was not following. So the present form of to be changes into the past form. And we change other things that show us the time. So she doesn't follow trends now, she says direct speech, but at that time when she was saying it, maybe a few years ago. And we also change the verb in the second part, as you can see, like for liked. And step 3, we change the point of view words, meaning if Kylie Jenner was speaking about herself, she used I, but once we change it, we use she, right? So I changes for she. So be careful, don't forget to change those pronouns because it's usually very important and people sometimes tend to forget about that. So then let's focus on those changes in a more specific way. Okay, so you say you used it at Ukrainian. That's interesting. They are similar in a way, but also we have some big differences there. So let's have a look. First of all, how we change everything. So present simple goes to past simple. I enjoy, she enjoyed. Present continuous logically into past continuous. So I am wearing, she was wearing. Present perfect goes into past perfect. No matter whether it's perfect simple or perfect continuous, we just change present for past, meaning has, have for had. Then, when it comes to past tenses, here we have a little bit different things. So first of all, when it's past simple, we make it past perfect. Yeah? So Robbie went changes for Robbie had gone. And I was having changes for I had been having. So past tenses go to past perfect tenses. And by looking at this chart, you can already notice that we have basically 2 tenses which become past perfect when we make indirect speech. So that would be present perfect changed into past perfect, and that would be past simple changed into past perfect. But what if we have some other forms? With future simple, we simply use would. So instead of will, you use would. Instead of future continuous will be, I think you can guess it, there would be would be. And when we have some imperative form, meaning we give some order to the person, remember, like run, Forrest, run, then we just use infinitive with to. So Jenny told Forrest to run. Teacher asked us to answer the question. So we use infinitive with to in order to report some order or imperative sentences. And pay attention here. If you want to say something negative like don't be, we never use do. We use not before to. Not to be. Like не запізнюватися. So not always goes first. Never say to not. It's incorrect. All right, let's keep moving. So also we have this group of modal or semi-modal verbs. So can changes for could. Must typically becomes had to. Have to also goes into had to. And may changes for might. So basically, if a modal verb has its past form, we just change it into this past form. But if the modal verb exists only in one form, then we may look for some equivalence, like with must and had to. And when it comes to conditionals, again, an interesting thing, first conditional becomes second conditional, so you should change both parts of the sentence into the according things. But if you look at it in details, you will see that it's just the part of the previous rules. So if I find present simple goes into past simple and will goes into would. So no differences. You just change everything step by step. So now, after we discussed it, let's practice a little bit. Your task is to write the hidden part of the sentence. So Rachel said, I've lost my phone. Rachel said that, and then your turn to write. Only the missing part. Do not rewrite the whole sentence. So Rachel said that she had lost her phone. Absolutely right. Number 2, Natalia said, we're going to travel in July. So she said that had lost, lose. As you spelled it, Anna, it would be a bit different meaning. By the way, if someone can mention it in the chat, I would be grateful. Okay, so number 2, they were going, not are going, but were going to travel in July. Number 3, the doctor told me that lose is an adjective. Thank you, Diana. And it means something like вільний. So, for example, I don't like wearing very tight clothes. I like something loose, like oversized things. Okay, so you have to work out regularly that I, pay attention, we changed the subject, had to work out regularly. Yeah, good. Number 4, Jada told me I'll come to visit you as much as I can. So Jada told me. So if we report it not word by word, all the options that I can see could be there. But she would come, so we just change will for would, then come is not changed, to visit me as much as she, and then could, right? So we just change will for would and can for could. Number 5, you can't touch the painting because it's priceless, Mr. Stevens told the kids. I know it's a lot to type, but still. Could be not to, but actually you can just report you as they and make it a usual narrative sentence. They couldn't touch the painting because it was priceless. But we can also say that he asked the kids not to touch the painting. It could be. All right, number 6, Anthony said, I won the match because I trained hard. By the way, I like Diana's option, we're not allowed. That's a good one. He had won, right? I won in past simple, so he had won in past perfect as we report, because he had trained hard. So yeah, we should change past parts in past perfect here. Be careful. Okay. So then the next part here. We had already left, she said. So in the original sentence, we see it here in past perfect. So how to report it? What do we change? She said that they had already left. Yeah, exactly. So do we change anything when we report past perfect? Well, nothing. So yeah, here we have some things which aren't changed when it comes to reported speech. It's a little bit of spoiler. So then let's check what they are. First of all, it's past perfect tenses. So no matter if it's past perfect or past perfect continuous. Then if we have already past modal, you can see them here. And pay attention, must for assumptions. So when we report must, that sounds like a rule. You must study harder. She told me I had to study harder. But it must be easy for you to write NMT. He told me it must be easy. So there we don't report must. Mom said that I must be really tired. No change if it's assumption. Okay. So then, when it comes to second and third conditional, again, we have no change. So if you think logically, you will understand it because, second conditional shows some imaginary possibility, which still didn't happen. But if we use third conditional, it's something that had already happened, and both of them shouldn't be changed. Yeah, so assumption is similar to prediction, that's why I say, like, when we try to guess something, коли ми використовуємо must для здогадки, як напевно, мабуть, скоріше за все. In this way, we do not change it. Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, so then let's check some sentences. So your task is just to tell me whether it's right or not. A and B, correct or not correct? She said that Paris is the capital of France. She said that Paris was the capital of France. Which is right? So about the last English webinar. The next one, actually. So yeah, we just have one more meeting this term. Because some of you will have your exams soon. So there is like no need in them after it. Okay, so number 2 is correct, both are correct. So number 1 actually is correct, and number 2 is not. So, and why in this way? Because, tell me please, did it change or has it changed since the question or since this sentence was said? Like, is Paris still the capital of France? Yeah, like nothing changed there. So if we report something which is obvious fact and which is 100% sure still true as we report it, we may not change it. Even we shouldn't change it. So again, if your teacher tells you some general rules, laws of nature, when you report your teacher's speech, you do not change tense. For example, Lilia told us at the webinar that we don't change facts and general truth. It's not like we didn't change. We don't change them, never ever. So that's general rule. Okay, then I have 2 more pairs of sentences. I think they're supposed to be with some other numeration, but I think you will deal with that. So, again, A and B. Lynn says, Mom will be home soon. And Lynn says that mom will be home soon. Is it correct reporting or not? So mom will be home soon or mom would be home soon? Be very careful. Look at the verb we use to report. Lynn says in the first pair and Lynn said in the second pair. So which way of reporting is correct and which one isn't? Depends on time. So actually both of them are correct. And here's, the tricky thing. So when the reporting verb, in our case says, is in present, we don't change anything. So she says as if she's doing it right now. Mom will be home soon. So as you see, the first reportive verb in the present tense, you never change the second part. But when it comes to the reportive verb in the past form, then everything else should align with that and be changed into the past. So let's check some more sentences. John, I'll be late. Which one is correct, 1 or 2? So you say neither of them. And that is right. So pay attention. When we use reportive verb, sometimes reportive, sometimes reporting, different sources call them differently. So when we use reportive verb said, we don't use the person there. So, but with tell, we should. So it should be vice versa. John said that he would be late, but John told me that he would be late. So again, after say, we report information. After tell, we first put the person to whom it was said. It could be not the pronoun, it could be any noun or even a group of nouns. For example, a teacher told his students, or for example, John told his colleague and his friend. So there can be like very wide range of people who we are telling something to, but it should be definitely some person after tell. Okay, so we always tell someone and then some information, but we say information and to some person. Sometimes we can say to some person and then some information. So tell somebody, say to somebody. Here you can say it. All right, we keep moving. So now we have even more different possible ways of using tell or say. So let's check here. Okay, I really like that you support each other. And I like that we have such friendly community there. So let's focus on the task. Again, decide whether it's say or tell. Just put the number and the word. Or you can use just S or T to type faster. So, you before. I didn't take your car. I told you, because we have the person and we have didn't, so and before, so it should be past reportive. Okay, number 2, Oksana said yes to her boyfriend. Number 3, okay, you're super fast. His mom probably told him because we have the person there. And number 4, obviously, his mom said something to him. So firstly information and then to him. Number 5. So again, explain what's the difference between say and tell. Okay, I'll try. As you can see here, after each verb told, we have the person to whom it was addressed. So I told you. Or, for example, his mom told him or his son. But if we have say, usually first goes some information. He said what? Yes. Or she said what? Something. And only then, only after, we mention the person, like to her boyfriend, to him. So it's about the order of information. After tell, we use the person, then information. After say, we use information to some person. I hope it's clear. Let's check the rest of them. So number 5, William told them, because again, first we have people. My neighbor. And here, did he say anything? Because information goes first. My neighbor said, good morning. Who told her this secret? My friend told me about his promotion and I said nothing because I was jealous. Okay, good job here. So I see very few mistakes, which means that you understood the topic. Did you? Say yes or no. Okay, let's keep moving. So now, look very carefully and try to spot a mistake in each reported sentence. So, Emily, our teacher will go to Leipzig tomorrow. Emily said, that is optional, their teacher would go to Leipzig tomorrow. So, what's the mistake in number 1? Can anybody see that? Or you can look through all the sentences to notice the pattern and to understand what type of mistake I'm asking for. Yeah, I can see the first correct answer. Thank you, Andre. So, not tomorrow, the next day. Do we know that it's still the same day as it was reported? If yes, if you clearly can say, like, she told me an hour ago, and it's still the same day, and she's still leaving tomorrow, then yeah, we can report it, because tomorrow is still tomorrow. But if it is unknown, if the context doesn't give you extra information, then you should change tomorrow for the next day. So now you can easily find the mistake in number 2. Robert told me that his father had flown to Dallas. When? When? So we don't say last year because maybe it was not last. The previous year could be the year before. So the next equals the following, the previous equals the year or the day before. And number 3, we didn't eat fish 2 days ago. So what do we change here? They hadn't eaten fish. Two days before. So we change ago for before. And here, as you can see, that if we don't know whether the time is still actual, we change it. If context says that tomorrow is still tomorrow and next year is still next year, then you can omit that rule. But in NMT, when you have such tests, usually they are focused on checking your ability to change something rather than understanding that it didn't change. All right. So it would be typically about changing the time markers. So here they are. When we speak about now, it usually turns to then. If it's today or tonight, it becomes that day or that night. Yesterday, the day before or the previous day, And this pattern we can use not only with days. Tomorrow, the next, or the following day. Pay attention that we use next with article the in reported speech. Last week turns into the previous week or the week before. And the same with last year, last month, last century. Next week turns into the following week, and ago turns into before. Also, we change not only time markers, but some pronouns. So this or these turns into that or those. So if you are not in the same place anymore, and if you don't hold the same object you were speaking about in direct speech, like I don't like this phone. If you still hold that phone as you reported, you can say that Laura told me that she didn't like this phone. But if you switched the place and the context, she didn't like that phone that was there in that place. And the same with plural form of this. We change these for those. So here, if we moved from the place, becomes there. But if we remain in the same place, we can use here. For example, Laura told you, oh, I would like to have my party here. And then you report, could you imagine? She told you would like to have party here, right? So, but in tests, we always assume that the time, the context, and the place were changed. So we need to change those things. So we change pronouns. I think that's obvious, yeah? So when somebody says, I like it, then we report that he or she like it. And also, it could be about some other things according to the context. So then, now let's check this dialogue. Firstly, one girl asks, do you like my new t-shirt? Yeah? And she receives the answer, yeah. And then she retells it to another friend. She asked me, what? What did she ask? What would be the reported question? So she asked me, show me your knowledge. If I like or if I liked. Yeah, if I liked or whether I liked her t-shirt. Exactly. So yeah, we switched the place, the context, so we report present in past. Okay, so to sum up all those rules about reported questions, first of all, we need to remember that we do the same tense changes as in all the previous types of sentences, as we discussed. So present into past, will into would, past perfect and past modals, we don't change them. But also the word order, порядок слів, changes. So we don't use the question form. If you struggle with that, imagine how you would answer this question. So, for example, can we say, she asked me, what did I like? Can we say it like that? She asked me, what did I like? So she asked me what I liked, because my answer would be without did. I liked something and something, right? Okay, that could be used not only with ask, but with some other things. So let's check your attentiveness. She wanted to know what was the problem. Correct or not correct? She wanted to know what was the problem. Can you spot the mistake here? She wanted to know what was the problem. I'll write it. So what's the mistake in my sentence? What the problem was. Because when we answer it, we would start like that. Well, the problem was that I didn't know how to use the words in the correct order, right? So the problem was in the answer. Okay, then I was interested. Where was my phone? I was interested. Where was my phone? Again, I think you can notice that we want to know where my phone and then was. So anytime when we don't use a question mark in the end, but we just report the question that existed before, we should use this to be in the end. Okay, then let's now check the other rules. So here, as you can see, when it comes to questions with a question word, like where, why, what, how, and so on, we use them as linkers when report. So where did you buy that shirt? My friend asked me. Where? Then pay attention. Positive sentence order. Firstly subject and then auxiliaries. I had bought. We changed the tense into past perfect. That shirt. So a lot of changes, but we use where as a linker. Then one tense back, past simple into past perfect. Then positive sentence order, not a question anymore. Not had I, but I had. Okay. So the second one, if we have no question word in the sentence, it's something like yes, no question. Do you like chocolate? Or did you go to school? Or have you finished your project? We should use some linker still. And typically we use if or maybe whether. So if or whether work perfectly. All the other changes are done absolutely in the same way. One tense back and not a question order. It's a positive sentence order. Okay, so now your task is to turn the following sentences into reported questions. There we go. Where do you come from, Alice? Asked Adam. So Adam asked Alice. Show me your best. Adam asked Alice. Where did she come? So first of all, and not had, it's too far, Diana. So we have do you come. What tense is that? It's present simple, right? So we need past simple. How would Alice answer I in past? I came from, for example, Ukraine. So in past simple, positive order. So Adam asked Alice where she came from. Subject, verb in past simple. No did, no do, no had. It's not a question anymore. Be careful. Okay, next. Have you ever met Paul? Yeah, thank you for your corrected sentences. They look better. Have you ever met Paul? She wanted to know. So we're working with number 2. She wanted to know whether or if, then subject, and then have changes for had. If I had ever met Paul. She wanted to know if I, right? Okay. Number 3, if I had ever. Don't forget about had, because have you ever, present perfect, I had never, or I had met him would be past perfect. Number 3, let's focus on that. Can I borrow your bike, David? That's all right to make mistakes. I understand that sometimes they are just like typos, so be cool with that, because I'm totally cool. Like, that's all right, we are learning, and we are here at super fast speed. So, can I borrow your bike, David? Frank asked David. If he could, can for could, borrow his bike. So it's nice that we change for can for could, but I want to see full parts of the sentences because lots of changes should be done there. If he could, borrow, it's still borrow. Because lend, it's like to give him a bike, right? But Frank asks for a bike. That's all right. Number 4, how much did the cinema tickets cost? Helen wondered. Okay, what was the tickets cost? You're cheating a little bit here. Like, it could be, it's grammatically correct, it's just not this sentence reported. If we had what is the tickets cost, then what the tickets cost was. But here we have a bit different. So how much? Then the cinema tickets subject, then had, because we use past perfect, not past simple, and then cost. Cost. It's irregular, so we don't use ed form. It's always the same. They did cost, they cost. And number 5. Will you be able to help us with the shopping tomorrow? So as you can see, something long is waiting for us and lots of changes. Guys, don't be sorry. Like, that's all right. Just understand your mistakes. Try to understand why they happened. Try to notice your main issues and not to make the same mistakes in the future. That's it. But don't be sorry in the chats, really. Like, it's absolutely unnecessary. So, number 5. Would he be able? Sounds still like a question to me, Angela. Oh, sorry, Anna. That's Anna. Yeah, but we don't need the question order anymore. So, will you be able? You should go before will in the reported. If or whether, then he, like I said, and then will for would be able to help them. And pay attention, the next day or the following day. Exactly, so I'm happy that you corrected this part as well. Yeah, look carefully. And if any questions, if something still needs to be explained, ask me in the comments. All right? And for now, yeah, we need to keep moving. So, we still have reported questions. Do you need more practice or can we skip this slide? Practice or skip? You can practice it on your own if you wish later, or we can do it now. Okay, poor brain. It will survive, I promise you. Then let's do some more practice. So, what is the weather like today? He inquired. So pay attention how we changed, asked. Okay, let's practice. So he inquired, he asked, yeah? And then lots of changes. Yeah, we are practicing. So what is the weather like today? Pay attention that this conversation might have happened 3 days ago, a month ago, and so on. I see. Probably a correct answer. What the weather was like that day. So don't skip like. What the weather was like. Якою була погода? Okay, next. Number 7. Why were you absent last week, Betty? So again, Diana, not what was, but what the weather was. Subject and verb. Inquire, ask, yeah. So why were you absent last week, Betty? The teacher asked Betty, why, what? That's a very right answer. Why? Then she, subject goes first. Then were you, past simple, into had been, past perfect, absent, and then last week, the week before. Very good. Number 8. Are you going to work tomorrow? She asked. So again, look carefully, change correctly. No questioning orders. Yeah, you're doing it better and better. Happy to see that. So number 8, are you going to work tomorrow? So she asked me if I was going to work the next day. So here I need to explain. Can we say if I were in this sentence? I know that in conditionals, typically we say if I were you, and so on. But here, no, because this if is not conditional not conditional if, yeah? And here, if I was going, because that might be very real situation. And we use were for all subjects only in unreal imaginary situations. Okay, number 9. Is Anne American or does she come from Europe? Again, lots of changes, be careful. Is Anne American or does she come from Europe? So Mary wanted to know if Anne was American or she came from Europe. Or, yeah, that's good. And number 10, who did you invite to the party? My brother asked. So my brother asked me. Again, lots of changes. My brother asked me. Okay, I think it's time to reveal who I invited, who I had invited to my party. So I invited already with did, so in past simple, then yeah, we use it in past perfect with had. Who or whom? Well, it could be both, but it's okay to change whom for who, and there is not a problem. Okay, good. So, yeah, who I had invited. Now let's a little bit focus on more reporting verbs. So the verb inquire caused some questions. Now let's have a look at some others. For example, if we talk to our grandma, sometimes we need to explain, yeah? So it's not just that I said to my granny or I told my granny, but I explained that she had to do something, right? So, and this shows us that not only say, tell, and ask are the verbs to report, but there are many more of them, and now we're going to check just some of them. So, promise, suggest, warn, explain are just 4 among many, and now I want you to choose the best option for each situation. So, why don't we go out for lunch? She said. She did what? Why don't we go out for lunch? So yeah, she suggested going out for lunch. Pay attention. Here we reported it a little bit differently. So we didn't say she suggested that, blah, 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 subject, verb in past simple. We just used go in ing form. So she suggested doing something. Okay, number 2, we'll definitely come and help. So she promised to come and help. Again, pay attention to the form. So after promise, we use infinitive form, and that's correct. Number 3, first you have to enter a password. Yeah, she explained or he explained that I had to enter a password. So here it works exactly like said, right? No changes. And it's dangerous to swim. So my mom warned me not to swim or to be careful. So again, we have infinitive form. So here you have bigger groups of verbs which could be used for reporting in different manner. So when we say that we accuse someone of or we advise someone against, what form of the verb should we use afterward? Suggest, yeah, like to offer, запропонувати, exactly. So, what should we use after them? It's always verb ing. So pay attention that after these certain verbs, we use ing form of the next verb to report. Okay, then if we admit, deny, propose, or recommend, we also use gerund, but here we skip any prepositions. So we accuse someone of something. So we have the verb, then object, then short preposition, and then gerund. But here it's just verb plus gerund. Yeah, so I suggest doing something. I recommend doing something. I propose doing something. What about the next category? So here we have the verb and the object after, and again, they are used with full infinitive. So he advised us to do something. We agreed to do something. He asked me to do something. When we have just verbs like admit, agree, deny, we use that clause. So as you can see, some of them could be used in two columns. For example, with admit, you can notice that we can use that he admitted committing the crime, він зізнався в скоєнні злочину, or he admitted that he committed the crime. Він зізнався, що він скоїв злочин. And both would be absolutely correct. So if you notice any more verbs here, he denied that he committed the crime, or he denied committing the crime. We can use them in both ways. And the last category here goes to, again, bare infinitive, but we can use them with should. So, he demanded, like вимагав, that we should listen to him, or he insisted that we should do it. So, again, we should propose doing something, or we can propose that someone should do something. So, if you feel confused for now, that's all right. You can just see these sentences with examples later on and just read them out loud. So if you don't know these rules, you notice these patterns. You get acquainted to how it sounds like. And then you try making your own sentences with all of them. So we suggested that he should come with us. He suggested coming with him. Just try making those sentences on your own. The more examples you make, the more confident you will become in using this grammar. And I already see some thankful words from you. Guys, I prepared even more. So in the pinned link, you can notice the bigger chart with more verbs and different patterns so that you know how to use them. So please, you're welcome, scan or just check the link in the comments. And as we have just 3 minutes left, I think we will do one more practical activity, and then we will go to the final and favorite part, check yourself. So, choose the correct option. Melissa suggested or decided meeting at the toy shop. Honestly, even I don't remember the number of that webinar. So you can just go to iLearn platform and check all of them, and also get the link for the folder. All the webinars there are named accordingly to the grammar. So you don't just open webinar 7. You open webinar 7, conditionals, for example. Okay, so number 1, Melissa suggested meeting and decided typically to meet. That's why we use ing with suggest. Number 2, Dad said or reminded me to remove the price tag from my new jumper. He reminded me because he said only to me, or just he said to remove. He asked to remove, so said doesn't work. Okay, number 3, my colleagues insisted on taking something, but they agreed to take. Number 4, Mom. I like your short options. So number 4, Mom promised to buy. It can be only she admitted buying. Like, yeah, I bought you new boots. Like, признатися в чомусь, or something like that. Визнати щось, yeah. Number 5, the student refused to run. Відмовився бігти. Because he denied running, it's like він заперечував, що він біг. Oh, sorry, it's turn. Never mind. So yeah, deny doing something, заперечувати щось, що ми зробили. Refuse to do something, відмовлятися щось зробити наперед. Okay, well done here. So, then, as I said, we have just one final activity left, and that is check yourself block. So get yourselves ready. And First of all, can we use whether instead of if? Yes or no? Yeah, for sure. So they are totally interchangeable, even though in day-to-day language they often use if because English people like shortening everything. Number 2, can we use present tense after reportive verbs in the past? Very carefully. Can we use present if the reportive verb is in the past? Okay, gotcha. So actually we can remember the rule about general facts that always exist and still exist, right? Actually we can. So our teacher told us, reportive verb in the past, that moon revolves around the earth. Moon always revolves around the earth. Місяць завжди обертається навколо Землі. That's a rule, so we can use it in present. Ta-da! All right, number 3. Do we change now for yesterday in reported speech? Now turns into then, right? At that moment, but not yesterday. Okay, can we say he offered going to the cafe? He offered going. No, he offered to go, but he suggested going. Yeah. He offered to go. He suggested going. Number 5, can we say he told that he knew the truth? He told that he knew the truth. We cannot, because after told there should be some person. He told me that he knew the truth, or just he said that he knew the truth would be correct. Okay, so that's actually all for today. Thank you for your very good work. And again, I'm reminding you that it's our pre-last webinar. So if you want to ask me anything, if you still have something that bothers you a lot, prepare those questions in the comments and I'll try to answer them. So yeah, because next time is like the final point of our meetings. Okay, see you in a week, hopefully, and have a nice evening. Happy holidays and happy Easter. Bye-bye.